Going live.
Going live.
The Hangout is live. And since I was so graciously granted the rights to use Susan Gerbich's voice, I'm going to introduce the show again with a little bit of skeptical action and guerrilla skepticism on Wikipedia. Here we go.
Hello, ORly podcast listeners. I am Susan Gerbich, a skeptical activist. Are you tired of arguing with believers and want to make a lasting contribution to scientific skepticism and actually educate people worldwide? Well, I have the perfect project for you. Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia edits Wikipedia pages that concern scientific skepticism. Lately, we've been concentrating on everything concerning our spokespeople. We have just finished new page creations for Emily Lakdawalla, Stephen Novella, Center for Inquiry, Joe Nickel, Flay Flam, Chris Mooney, Richard Weissman, Neil Gershenfield, Maynard from the Skeptic Zone, Nathan Phelps, and so much more, including my favorite pseudoscience, spontaneous human combustion, which, would you believe, gets about 26,000 views each month. We train and mentor in a friendly, welcoming environment. Or if you lack the time right now to join the power club that is GSOW, you might want to participate in some activism light. Follow Skeptic Action on Twitter, Facebook, or Google+, and you can help keep pseudoscience at bay with about 30 seconds of work each day by using Web of Trust and Rebutter. Questions? Write to us at gsowteam@gmail.com.
We're just trying to change the world here, people.
Oh, really?
The Facebooking and the tweeting and the Instagramming, all that would not exist without our understanding of science.
It's amazing how you took that as an insult. You mean true for you is different from true for anybody else?
Yeah, absolutely, because I can't
prove either got to be true or not.
I can't. No.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to ORly Radio Show 18 for Friday, August 8th, 2014. This was going to be the show all about Israel and the mess that they've gotten themselves into. But we're going to postpone the inevitable. And basically, we're going to do it some more justice. We're going to do a little bit more research. And we're without Mike today because he's out enjoying steam-powered giraffe. Yes, that's a thing. Go out, do a search.
It's a band. Look them up on YouTube.
And they're
It's unique.
It's super unique, and they do some really good work out there. But he's out at Nerdfest in Orlando and enjoying the hell out of that. I hope we'll probably get a review from him next week. I hope. Next week we maybe have the Israel episode. I'm not gonna say one way or another, but I do have episode 20 is definitely going to be all about mental health. I've got a wonderful guest lined up who's going to really. It's going to be a deep episode. It's going to be thick, and I hope you enjoy it. And it's going to be educational, very, very educational. So let's get right into the stuff: science, technology, and probably some politics.
Definitely some politics.
Nano water chip could make desalination affordable for everyone. Don, I think you pulled this one up.
Yeah, I've been seeing this on in Habitat a bunch. It's basically using low voltage over a plastic chip. It seems pretty simple. That let me see if I can find a quick quote that kind of describes what it does. With freshwater declining throughout the globe, desalination looks increasingly attractive, but current technologies are expensive, demanding too much energy, and are prone to contamination.
Water chip that creates a small electrical field that separates salt from the seawater.
Yeah.
That's pretty much as simple as it can get. It's just been that's been a really hard thing to do.
It's been
There's a similar technology to this that somebody developed where they were using something like this in conjunction with a solar cell and basically a parabolic mirror to reflect basically 2,000 times as much sun as you normally get into a small space. And they were using salt water to keep the solar cell from melting the end result being that the water boils off, desalinates, and then they collect the.
That was IBM. That was IBM.
Yeah.
We had that as a topic.
Oh yeah.
Several episodes ago. This giant, enormous dish, solar collector, and everything.
Produced electricity and drinkable water at
All
the same
time. What more can you ask for in a desert environment? Oh yeah, food.
Well,
Yeah, little things like that. So they're definitely making some headway on this stuff. That's great.
Yeah.
So it really would be nice, for all those preppers out there to have in their bag of tricks, in their backpack, a little thing that'll both power all their tech and also provide them a little drinking water. So that way they didn't have to pull a water world and piss into Mr. Coffee. Exactly. But as far as power generating jewelry, this is now a thing. Sort of.
It's intense. Yeah. It's an intense thing. That's what it is. It is an intense thing.
It looks seriously intense.
The E-pulse conductor mines energy directly from the nerves of the spinal cord. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
They also, if you don't want your spine, you can also stick it in your eyes.
Or the blood bridge, which features spikes on each end for insertion into a vein on the lower arm. The continuous flow of blood turns the wheel, mustering enough kinetic energy to convert into electrical power.
Yeah, I'm seeing these things, but I'm not seeing a connection to the device to something else. Did you notice that small flaw?
Yeah, these are probably concepts.
I hope that they're just concepts, but I mean it's the Matrix. It's turning us into batteries.
Yeah.
Even though we would be very inefficient batteries.
We're not storing electricity. These are actually using the natural functions of our body to generate electricity.
Yeah, it's just kind of tapping into what's already there. We do generate a lot of excess heat.
Yeah.
That's the whole being a warm-blooded mammal thing.
I think it's kind of a bastardization of Peltier devices is going to be what harnesses that eventually.
Yeah.
Heat engines.
Some of this stuff, though, it looks just absolutely disturbing. The blinker affixed to on the bridge of the nose between the eyes translates every eyelid flutter into an electrical pulse.
Yeah, and the picture, whoever that model is, that's just not okay.
It looks a little bit like Arya Stark right before she's going to shove needle in somebody's heart.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm wrong, but... Oh, and isn't this interesting? Ever since we've been doing the research for Israel and all the stuff going on, I keep seeing Israeli things pop up all over the place. This Israeli designer. It's right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, geez. So apparently Israel is just a hotbed of new tech startups. Software companies. There's a lot of apps and things like that for both Android and the Apple ecosystem. They're all coming out of there. It's really interesting. They have a different kind of work ethic and things like that involved. But we've got a link to these things in the show notes. So prepare to go get a little freaked out by concept jewelry art thing, body.
Things that are full of nope.
Well, I've seen, being that I'm recently more single, I've been looking at a lot of the dating websites and things like that, and some of the things that I'm noticing are these nose earring stud things.
Mm-hmm. Those have been very common.
And I don't know why they're so common, because I don't know about you, but I like itch my nose like all the time. And I'm just thinking that I would be like stabbing myself all the time. It doesn't make sense to me. And then there's people with just like stud implants like all over, and I feel like I've missed the boat on why this is a thing that should be there.
Well,
Am I getting old?
Somebody kind of like explained This is one explanation that I have heard. Essentially, is that the body jewelry and whatnot affixed to different locations are meant to point out those things. Like if you have a cute nose, you put a stud in it, and it draws attention to the nasal area.
You do that, and then you put a hole in it to make it less attractive.
Yep.
Right.
Makes perfect sense.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're not worried about the hole so much as the rock. And then you see the nose, and then you see the face, and then you see the person, and it's like, oh yeah.
Boy, that doesn't work.
Not capitalizing on vanity whatsoever.
No, wow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's a great idea, but I've never been.
Okay. That was the explanation that I heard, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's it's an explanation.
We'll
go with that. We'll go with that.
Go with that.
U.S. jets and drones attack militants in Iraq, hoping to stop advance.
Yeah.
So was this one of yours, David?
Yeah, I put this one up here. Honestly, I kind of skimmed the article because my stance on this whole thing is fuck those guys.
Okay, so this is all about ISIS.
Yeah, this is about, well, ISIS or ISIL. Their name seems to change fluidly. Because I was just earlier today, I was watching TV and they were referred to as ISIL. So I don't know what's going on necessarily with that. But essentially, the report earlier today was about how they're essentially equipped with U.S.-made equipment now because we equipped the Iraqi military with our stuff. And when ISIS showed up, they said, here you go. Here's my rifle. Here's my Humvee. Here's my everything.
Yeah,
which is why I'm like, you know what? We shouldn't spend a single penny or lift a single finger to help those guys because that's not our country. It's not our homes. It's not our people that are going to get slaughtered by these fuckers. That's theirs. And if they're not going to defend their own, they don't deserve it.
I just wonder what the end game is. You know, okay, so I'm trying to remember what. Okay. ISIS stands for the Islamic State of
Iraq and Syria.
Iraq and Syria. I'm trying to figure out what really their end game is, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But you know, it's a jihadist movement, so I don't know that it's supposed to make sense outside the movement, really. But they do have. They're well equipped. You know, there's certainly people that are trying to link them with Al Qaeda, but I'm not even sure they.
No, they're enemies with Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
So we can fund Al Qaeda, who are sworn enemies of ISIS. Not so good. Oh, yeah, their other enemy is Iran. Wait.
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy is.
It's not always my friend.
And my enemy over there, and my enemy over there. We're not very popular out there. No. Now that I have been listening to a lot of more human interest stuff that's coming out of the region, as it were, and as long as the American troops have been there as a force to be reckoned with, just our very presence has had an effect on the people. And one area that is a very positive thing, at least if you like equality for women, you know, that's a great thing that we're doing there, is just being there, because we promote that, because they see women not in burqas giving other soldiers orders, carrying weapons, standing up for themselves. You know, making.
They're giving men orders.
Yeah, they're giving men orders, and those men are listening and taking the advice. So, I mean, there's something big there. But now that we're pulling out, all of those changes are going right back to where they were, and it's scaring the people that were really hoping that was going to be something good.
I think. Ultimately, the end game of ISIS is simply to tear down whatever it is we've built in Iraq. and whatever our efforts in that region may be. I think essentially they are just our sworn enemy, and they don't care about any good that we may have done in the process. It's just about tear it down. Americans built it, destroy it.
Yeah, actually, there's
Unless they can use it to help destroy the other stuff that we built.
yeah, this in at 6:46 p.m. ISIS overtakes Iraq's largest Christian city. That's out on CNN World. Iraq's largest Christian town has been overrun by the same militant Islamists who have gained a foothold in parts of eastern Syria and western and northern Iraq. Latest advance by ISIS. ISIS, or the Islamic State, formerly known as the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. So that's where their name is changing. So they're rebranding themselves as they continue to take on other areas. It caused thousands of Christians to flee the city, just as other minority groups are targeted by ISIS have done, as well as the Shia Muslims and everything. So it's not good. Not good. It's a. I don't even know where to go with that, because Iraq and ISIS, that would be a whole other special that we could do. It's a mess. It's absolutely a mess. And you can't reason with them because they simply want everyone that doesn't believe as they do, this is a jihad after all, to die and get out of the way. Preferably in that order.
Yep, first die and then move yourself out of the way.
Yes, die and please, if you would, fall to the left. Yes, into that giant ditch over there that you dug for yourself earlier. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the U.S. Drone attacks are doing how well here? Are we actually making any headway? Are we helping?
I don't know. They happened actually today. So I think we're going into the assess mode of, okay, we blew up a bunch of shit. Let's see what happens.
Yes. As I scroll down through this, there is a message to America from ISIS. It's 33 seconds. Let's go ahead and give that a little listen here.
Yeah.
هذه رسالة نوجهها لأمريكا.
Okay. Obviously, I'm going to need to translate. Finally, this is a message addressed to America.
فلتعلمي يا حامية الصليب
You should know.
أن حرب الوكالة.
No, it's going too fast. Okay, that failed horribly.
Where's your Google Translate now?
I know. Where is your translate now? No, I just couldn't read it fast enough.
Couldn't read it fast enough?
Couldn't read it fast enough.
Let's see here.
Let's see. What did Michael Fallon say? It's Iraq. It's not going to be pretty. I just hope that we don't end up getting wrapped up even further into it to try and correct what we already did.
But you know they will.
Well, yeah. I mean, that amazing things about the jihads is that they apparently don't understand American politics, and that if you continue to taunt us, we will drop large bombs on your head. I mean, that's pretty much what happens. You don't provoke us. World War II, we stayed out of it, we stayed out of it, we stayed out of it. Then you started provoking simply us. Japan, I'm looking at you. And then we drop Fat Man and Little Boy. Basically just to prove a point.
We've gotten much better at dropping bombs.
Yes. Not quite to that extent, but the carpet and fuel air bomb.
ISIL has absolutely nothing that can stop us from dropping bombs.
Unless they took it from us earlier.
Yeah.
Well,
Which they could have.
unless they took it from the Iraqis who we gave the equipment to.
Yeah. It's scary. I mean, I don't know what to think about it. But it's like we're just stuck in a political war that is not a political war. Here in America, it's a political war.
Yeah.
it's all about land grabs, maintaining resources. At some level, it's about maintaining humanitarian efforts and trying to bring some democracy and all those things. But I don't think that it's working at all, because to them it's not a political movement. To them it's a religious movement.
Yeah. I watched the translation of that video, and it's basically they call us America as defenders of the cross. So it's really all about religion apparently with them.
It's Islam versus Christianity.
Islam versus Christianity, and they're going to find out that we don't give two shits about their Islam. We've got a really good military.
Yeah,
we like to use it. We really do. Might not be able to due to budget reasons all the time.
When has a budget reason ever stopped bombs from being dropped on people?
No.
Well, it doesn't stop bombs from being dropped on people, but it stops large land engagements.
No.
Barely.
Barely.
That's how we tacked on like $3 trillion to the national debt, is just because of Iraq.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we should throw any more money after that.
No. It's a complete waste of money.
I think the whole area is just a complete waste of money.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, we don't. Arguably, the only reason that we're there, if you follow the money and follow some of the grander conspiracy theories, this is all about the oil.
Yeah.
No.
If there was oil on the moon, we'd be back there in a heartbeat. That kind of thing.
Yeah, but we're not getting oil out of Iraq so much. Not
Well,
nearly.
Well, there was the thought that we would, and it all started with Kuwait, and it was all about Saudi Arabia and all these things. But now we don't. That was many, many years ago now, and regimes have changed power a little bit, and it would obviously now that ISIS is here, where it wasn't before, now you have these extremely militant groups that just want to shoot us in the face for being in their business, and I think being on the planet.
Yeah.
That if they could come over here and do something about it, they probably would, but they
cannot.
Cannot because, well, yeah. I mean, there have been imams, the leaders of the Islam groups, have put out fatwas to forbid any Muslim from going to Mars. I'm not kidding. It sounds completely laughable. It sounds like a joke, but it's not. They've put out fatwas indicating that no Muslim should ever go
to Mars.
To Mars.
Just to Mars.
Well, it's because the big call.
Because of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Get to us to Mars. No.
Yeah.
No, it's not because of that. No, there was the effort to get people to go, volunteer to go. There's 100,000 people that volunteered for the one-way trip to Mars, and that was what spurned the thing. It's like no Muslim should ever, volunteer death, basically like that. I don't know what else he's thinking, but
well, I don't know. They get Muslims to volunteer for one-way trips all the time. So,
what's the problem? I mean,
apparently there's no glory.
Honestly,
apparently there's no glory in setting foot on one of our celestial neighbors.
Because they don't exist?
I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. I'm sure that there's a more fundamental reason behind it that, again, doesn't make any sense to us Westerners. But yeah, this is what's happening.
Maybe they think Mars is made of bacon. That's why it's red.
Wow. No. I don't think so. I'm not even going to go there.
If it was, then we'd be back. We'd be going there.
Shit,
True.
I'd be
If it
building
was-
my
oh,
own ship to go to Mars if it was made of bacon.
Another little side tangent news thing is the bacon reached its all-time highest price this week. It's like over $6. It's like in the mid $6 range per pound. It's the highest it's been. It's so sad. Anyway,
my youngest daughter, I believe that if you cut her, she will bleed bacon. She loves bacon. It's like her favorite food on the planet.
and on Mars.
And
on Mars.
On any planet, it is her favorite food. And that's going to really put a hurting on my pocketbook if bacon prices keep going up. That sucks.
You need to go down. I'll tell you about a place later there where you can get deli-made bacon.
Is it inexpensive deli-made bacon?
I don't know. I actually never bought it there, but I saw literally like stacks of bacon.
There's no. I don't think there's really a shortage of bacon. I think that's just an excuse to probably raise the.
Well,
price.
I mean, their prices are usually really good. And it's also where I got mango curry sausage.
Mm-hmm. Support your local meat markets because they are good.
Yeah.
Latin, Hispanic meat markets, any type of meat markets, support them because they do good stuff and they're low priced. That's the gist.
Yeah. So now that we've whetted your appetite with bacon, let's talk about Ebola.
That is not like bacon.
That's not like bacon. No.
That's not like bacon.
So some key facts about the Ebola virus. Actually, it's an Ebola virus disease, EVD, formerly known as Ebola hemorrhagic fever. It's severe, often.
Formerly known as you're fucked.
Yeah. EVD outbreaks, Ebola outbreaks, well, I'm just going to say Ebola, usually have a case fatality rate of up to 90%. The more recent one has been 60% because it's a variation. The virus is transmitted to people from wild animals and spread in the human population through human-to-human transmission. Now, this is only with bodily fluids. Okay, so blood, fecal matter, these...
Is it in sweat, too?
I don't think it's sweat.
And they've proven it's not airborne either.
It is not an airborne thing.
Thank Christ, if it was airborne, we'd all die.
It would be bad, yeah. Outbreaks primarily occur in remote villages in Central and West Africa near tropical rainforests. That's typically what will happen is a wild animal that is hunted for game will be caught and slaughtered, and during the process of that, their blood will then get in a cut or be ingested raw in some fashion by a member of the populace, and then it will spread from there. So a bloodborne pathogen, essentially, and then it will carry on. It first appeared in 1976, so it's been around for a while. There have been a lot of different variations, at least five, probably six now, specific species of the EVD. It's
thanks, Obama.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to that. Yes. There is no licensed vaccine for Ebola currently available, but there are several being tested. None are in clinical use or clinical, human use trials because, well, they haven't determined that there's enough.
None in actual human use trials, but they have tried it on 3 Westerners, and CNN did cover that, where they used it on. They had 3 doses, and they used them on 3 Westerners when they came back to the States from getting this disease overseas, and people went within a week from planning their funerals. They said this is what they said. They said they were planning their funerals, and came back. They got this dose, and then within like a week they're up and walking around.
That's huge.
Yeah,
that is huge.
So if they do convince these drug companies to start mass producing this, there's a possibility and we don't know what else, if this is a certain strain that it's working on or anything, but there's a possibility that maybe they're getting close to something that might work if the money shows up to let them move forward.
Yeah.
At a rapid pace.
Now, for those that are kind of wondering about, like, okay, Ebola's bad. Why is it bad? Signs and symptoms: severe acute viral illness, often characterized by a sudden onset of fever, intense weakness, muscle pain, headache, and sore throat. It's followed by vomiting, diarrhea, rash, impaired kidney and liver functions, and in some cases both internal and external bleeding. Laboratory findings include low white blood cell and platelet count and elevated liver enzymes. People are infectious as long as their blood and secretions contain the virus. Ebola virus was isolated from semen 61 days after onset of illness in a man who was infected in laboratory. The incubation period, that is the time interval from infection to the virus onset of symptoms, is anywhere from 2 to 21 days. So it's a very rapid onset, and like I said, that 90% fatality rate, not so good. So that's Ebola. Now, then there's this guy, Rick Wiles, and he is an end times evangelist. And, well, let's see, he warned yesterday, the 5th, he warned the 5th of this month, that President Obama may intentionally spread Ebola using an ineffective vaccine, which would lead to Americans being forced into, that's right, FEMA camps. He was speaking with evangelist Augusto Perez about how the spread of Ebola in West Africa has implications for the end times. In fact, there's
Perez weighed in on this.
Yeah, Augusto.
He said that the.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, I'll get it. So Perez said the vaccine would not work due to unhealthy eating habits and chemtrails. And it would spreading Ebola further and empowering the government to become oppressive and force people into FEMA camps.
Here, let's just listen to these yahoos.
It's incredible.
How are they able to come up with a vaccine so quickly?
Well, listen, if it's an Ebola vaccine, then the Ebola virus is in the vaccine.
Exactly my point.
Are you going to go down to your local government office and have them inject some Ebola virus in you?
And what people need to understand, because there are many people out there, Rick, that don't understand that. They think a vaccine.
Okay, what these two idiots don't understand is virology, biology, and the fact that it's been around since 1976 and we've been working very hard on isolating it because it's horrible.
Yeah.
Like, we're working on 38 years of research here.
Yep, all of a sudden they come up with it. No.
Yeah, no.
So, okay, here we go.
Yeah, Ebola's been around.
Protect me and my children, my family.
Augusto, the Obama would claim executive powers to mandate that every human being in the United States be vaccinated.
That's right, and this could be the perfect excuse for that. A vaccine, like you said, Rick, has deadened, or if you will, weak
live virus cells.
Live viruses in there, not in the full strength, but weakened.
Mercury
but
too, all those bad things.
That somebody may not have a good immune system, which is the case for all of us today, because we don't eat right. We're being bombarded continually by pollution, by chemtrails. We all have weakened immune systems. What are the chances that our immune system is going to be strong enough to be able to overcome this weakened virus in this vaccine? You know what I'm saying?
Augusto, they could use the panic to stampede hundreds of millions of people in this country to be vaccinated. In fact, billions worldwide. They could stampede the world to receive a vaccine against a deadly virus.
What the hell are these two smoking?
A lot of funny stuff. And it's like they have absolutely nothing to gain by killing off the population in that way.
No.
Nothing.
It doesn't make
that weakens their power base. It doesn't make them stronger.
Yeah.
And how
It's
many
like,
people are going to rush out to get a...
if you murder most of America, who's going to defend it from outside enemies?
They don't understand how vaccines work.
No.
They certainly don't understand any of this. Of course, they evoke chemtrails.
Yes.
And
I felt like...
So they're blaming the fast food industry.
Yeah, which,
Yes.
yeah,
Well, okay, there's something to be said. If you eat a bunch of unhealthy shit, yeah, your immune system's a little bit compromised, but not like severely, not AIDS compromised.
not that you're going to die from a vaccine.
No.
Not too many people, unless you have a severe allergic reaction, could possibly really die from a vaccine. I mean, yeah, you may get sick, but...
Yeah, but they're not going to... I'm still trying to figure out FEMA camps.
What?
What is the purpose of their... What is their idea of these FEMA camps?
Well, they believe that the FEMA camps were built to... let's back up.
Are we doing Godwin's Law here? Are we going?
There are camps that exist. They bought like shitloads of like mobile home, trailer home type things, and they just got them parked in different places. And it makes sense when you think about it from a certain perspective. And that perspective is what happened in the wake of Katrina. We had tens of thousands of people and nowhere to put them, and their homes were underwater.
Yeah,
literally.
From a disaster, because FEMA is the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Yes. So their job is to plan for potential disasters on a Katrina-type scale. Ergo, now they have a place to put 10,000 people when they get flooded out of their homes by a big-ass hurricane and shitty levees that we still haven't really fixed because we have no money in the budget to do that, but we have a giant military, so that's cool.
Yeah.
My only thought with why they're talking about that is maybe they're trying to impose, they don't ever say it, but is to isolate the people with the illness. But they never say that. In that stuff, they never said it. I mean, okay, quarantine... Yes, but say, okay, you're using that as a quarantine location? Okay, great, say that, but they're like, oh, they're just going to...
Wait, there's another minute of this stuff. Here.
Oh, okay, well...
Yeah.
And nobody knows what's in the vaccine.
Well, the way this thing may be coming, and the way I'm seeing this thing coming, it could be a scenario very easily enforced. If you do not vaccinate, you cannot work. If you do not receive this vaccine, we will not be able to allow you to get on a plane.
Well, you'll be quarantined. You'll be quarantined in your home. You
That's
won't be allowed to leave your house.
I thought they'd be quarantined in the FEMA camps.
If you are suspected of having this flu, you may be taken to a FEMA camp, and isolated. And where probably there's going to be many people in there that really are contaminated with this flu, and then you will really catch it for sure. So,
hey, last week Obama signed an executive order empowering the government to detain and hold any person in the United States who shows symptoms of any kind of respiratory illness.
Yeah, I heard that. You can't cough now in public either.
That's what I'm trying to say.
You can't even cough now. That's where they're going.
In the age of SARS and the newer version MERS,
Middle East
which is
Respiratory Syndrome.
really fucking deadly virus, and now an Ebola outbreak rampaging through the world, it's only good sense to try to protect the population from pandemics, which can murder large numbers of people in short spans of time.
Yeah, it's really the same thing that we have quarantine periods for fruits and vegetables and things like that are coming into the country.
Animals and
all these things that they have to be quarantined for a length of time.
But the Department of Health and Human Services exists for this very fucking reason. It is one of the constructs we created as being part of a organized society so that there are people looking out for the general well-being of said society.
Yeah.
This is not some grand conspiracy that just popped up yesterday and, oh, hey, look, Ebola, I can use this to gain more power. No, Ebola is deadly shit, and I don't want it any more than anybody else here wants it.
They must obviously think that Obama truly is the Antichrist if he's actually going to give everyone Ebola.
Yeah.
Ebola is horrible. You know, that internal and external bleeding to death thing.
Yeah, it's. I'd say it ranks among the top 10 worst ways to die.
Not the higher.
Probably
lower
high
than
up on that list too.
Yeah.
It's probably, if it's not number 1, it's closing in. It is nasty,
on my
nasty
list.
shit. You literally, Ebola attacks every cell in your body, every organ, every cell. It attacks your skin, your muscles, everything. You bleed everywhere. I can't imagine. I just cannot imagine how horrible that must be to experience.
It's just you don't want to. I mean, like you
No.
say, the news story
There's
is saying that
no frame
that
of
these
reference
people-
here to go on.
These people are planning their funerals because they get it and they feel that bad and they're like, okay, I'm gonna die because you just can't. You feel like you can't survive. I
Yeah.
mean,
You don't want to survive.
yeah, you don't want to. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm
the
ready.
90.
It's not only blood that's leaking out of you, it's also your will to live.
Yeah. They brought the 90% mortality rate up to 60%, or down to 60% mortality rate with medical care, and that medical care consists of hydration.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all they, aside from this, whatever it is, it's not a
different
vaccine.
strain. It is also a different strain that's currently in this outbreak.
Yeah, aside from whatever medication or other medical care that is on the prototype stage, basically all they can do for you is hydrate you in the early stages of the disease, and that seems to be the only thing that makes a difference for an additional 30% of the people.
Early detection, isolation from others,
and hydration.
Massive hydration.
And that's the way with a lot of illnesses is hydration.
Especially
But
viruses.
some serious hydration though. You can't because you can't keep stuff down. You need to be pumped with fluids in other ways. Because
Well, just like with influenza, just the straight up flu, you know, you're going to get that fever, and a fever. You know, we always try in this country, stupidly, to get rid of the fever.
Yeah.
You know, we're always taking something for the fever, a fever reducer or whatever, you know, and NSAID. This is not really the way to go. Really, you just need to pound the fluids, and you need to let the fever kill the virus.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you need to control the fever to a certain extent,
Yeah.
too, because you can't let your brain overheat.
Yeah, but that happens.
That's bad.
That's at like 106 degrees Fahrenheit.
And
they say
fevers can spike up there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they easily can. Yeah,
But even 104 can be dangerous. I mean, you have to.
it's dangerous to certain populations. Yeah,
Yes.
you know, the very young and the very old. Typically, you know, you want to control their fever a great deal. But if you let the thing run its course and let your body actually work it
Do
out,
its job.
yeah, you're not going to get sick as often from the same thing because you're going to build up your resistance to it because that's what the immune system does, has been doing for millions of years.
Yep.
In various creatures. But you know, we probably need to really reevaluate how we actually treat ourselves when we get sick. Especially in the States when we're really a global society. When we start worrying about the Middle East respiratory syndrome, about SARS and all these things that are just coming at us from all over.
Oh yeah.
And we shouldn't be isolationist. We shouldn't close the borders because it is a global society. You know, there's money to be made outside those borders, people. You don't want to close the borders because then you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
And then you're going to lose access to the money that you have in all those offshore accounts.
Well, there's more than money. It's not just, you know, it's research, development, academics, straight up leisure travel.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cool places to go in the world.
There are, yeah. But the price for that is that we also have to build up our immune systems to everything in the world. That's kind of rough.
Which is not bad for us either.
No, it's not bad. It could be a little painful now and then.
It can be painful now and then, but you're actually stronger and healthier because you've got a more robust immune system.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of that immune system then gets cascaded down to your children. Should you have children after you have been sick. Some of those antibodies do travel across those umbilicals.
Yeah.
So, that's my little healthcare rant. Well,
that's kind of one of those things against all the antibacterial this and that. And
oh, you don't even get me started.
Yeah, no, that's just leads into all that stuff.
Antibacterials and antibiotics.
Well, they're actually starting to ban antibacterial chemicals in a lot of soaps and whatnot in certain states here in the States.
Yes.
But because it's actually aiding in the creation of super bacteria.
That's not why.
No, there's another reason why.
We broached this topic.
It was something. It had something to do with.
Actually, was it on this show?
Yeah, I think we mentioned it. It may have been in a pre or post show.
It might have been pre or post. Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't because of that. That is the side effect that we are very grateful for. But no, it was because it was getting into the groundwater and changing something for like livestock or something. It was something silly like that.
Yeah.
Not that that's silly. That is something.
I had read something else that was like, oh, it does that. Like it's actually slowly poisoning people.
I know it forces in. It like opens up. I don't know. It forces in something that's negative.
Yeah.
Some like heavy metals or something. It forces them into the body because it like.
Yeah, like bursting open capillaries or something at some
We have to look that up.
We'll hit that on a future show.
Yeah, we'll certainly revisit the antibiotic.
Antibacterial soap. Why you shouldn't necessarily use it.
Yeah, lye soap is fine. Any of the more natural soaps are fine. Not that I'm super naturalistic, holistic, and all that. Some of it just works really well.
Yeah.
And the antibiotics, well, our own personal flora that we have living on us. We are never alone. There's billions of bacteria in us. More of our genome is for critters, really, in us than us. I think the of our DNA, there's like, I think it was like maybe 20% being gracious. That's human, and the rest is bacteria and viruses and all sorts of things that are just kind of clumped in there. So we are
all part of a healthy system.
All part of a healthy system. That's right.
It's all symbiotic.
Yeah. We've got stuff. It's beneficial bacteria that does live in us. So if we kill the beneficial bacteria, then certain things don't get digested properly, and then we have other problems. So antibacterial everything is bad, really. So end of story. Okay. So speaking of ending things, Rand Paul would like to end foreign aid for Israel.
I was going to say, speaking of bacteria.
Oh, don't know if I wanted to go there.
No.
Ouch.
I know, I'm sorry.
He is a special kind of libertarian person.
He does make a little bit of sense here.
He does.
He does make a little bit of sense. He's the headline paints it a little bit skewed. He wants to eliminate all foreign aid. All of it. No more foreign aid.
He states flat out.
Literally all of it. And Israel is caught up in.
Well, here, let's let him bury himself. Quote, while this budget proposal does eliminate foreign aid to Israel, it is not meant to hurt, negate, or single out one of America's most important allies. This proposal eliminates all foreign aid to all countries. Israel's ability to conduct foreign policy, regain economic dominance, and support itself without the heavy hand of U.S. interests and policies will only strengthen the Israeli community. I can't really argue that fact, because
to a certain degree, I think if it's somebody you consider an ally, you should stage them off of it.
And we would, yeah. Nothing.
Granted, because essentially all money comes with strings. So hey, we're giving you $4 billion. So here's the deal.
That's
don't
true.
blow us
Yeah.
up this
And some of those ties, and it's interesting that we don't hear more about our own military presence in Israel, because of course that's a wonderful staging post. Basically, I mean we have bases all over the place, lots of bases.
Oh yeah, hundreds.
Lots of not so well equipped bases.
Mostly here.
Well, the defended bases like Benghazi. You know,
That wasn't even a base.
I know, it was just an embassy.
No, it wasn't even an embassy.
I thought it was an embassy. That was an embassy.
No, it's not an embassy.
Well,
it
it's
was
not
a mission.
It was a what?
A mission. The embassy in Libya is in like the capital of Libya. This was literally like just a compound that was attached in some loose way to the embassy.
Huh.
They were staffed.
It was the embassy because the ambassadors were there.
He was there that day. He had arrived that day.
Hmm.
And it was a diplomatic mission that he decided to go on because he hadn't been there in a while, and he had to go check it out because it's under his charge. So he went, and because he went with because it was inside his country of jurisdiction, essentially as an ambassador, he did not need any kind of approval from the State Department or anybody in the world. He's just like, I'm going over here. It's in Libya. And I gotta check this out. America.
Yeah. Now, that statement was from his fiscal year 2012 budget proposal.
Yes.
Though when asked on it, well, by the way, we're going back to Rand Paul and the deal with Israel. When asked on it, he's basically has not changed his stance on that. He still thinks that that's the right thing to do. Others are not so convinced that Israel would be stronger with no aid. Of course, the recent struggles and bombings and deaths and all sorts of human rights possible violations, they may speak to a different tale, which we'll talk about in another episode.
Maybe
we will talk about Israel in another episode, and it's like, it's one thing to be somebody's ally, but to me, the most important part of being a friend is telling them the truth. And sometimes that truth is you're being a dick, and you should stop.
Yeah.
And it's not what somebody wants to hear, but you say it in a nice way.
If we can, yeah.
If it's possible, you try to say it in a nice way, but you tell them the truth. You don't blow sunshine up their ass because they're your friend. And if you murdered somebody, I'm not going to say that you're a nice person.
Oh, yeah, you're not into the buddy politics? Come on.
No.
All buddy politics, isn't it?
No.
So,
I don't turn a blind eye to your shit.
Yeah. So speaking of kind of the more Tea Party, right-wing Republican stuff, there's an agency out there, an organization called Wall Builders. It's an organization founded by a Republican Party activist and self-proclaimed historian, David Barton, for the purpose of, quote, educating the nation concerning the godly foundation of our country. Barton and his work are routinely cited by those on the right who claim that the United States was founded by Christian men and on explicitly Christian principles. So he's, I think, personally responsible for much of the banter that we hear from people like Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Palin. Now, he has been in the news a little bit, no less than 3 times this week. Earlier this week, he repeats debunked claims that chaplains are forced to perform same-sex weddings. And then he also, on Wednesday, said, how can you be a Christian and be gay or have an abortion? And then on Thursday, he said, pro-choice candidates will take away your property and guns. So I just wanted to bring a little spotlight to Mr. David Barton and the organization known as Wall Builders, which, of course, is rather ironic since they say wall builders, but really it's more like wall demolitionists because they want to tear down that wall between church and state and have them as one.
Yeah.
Like the Middle East, maybe.
No, they want to get rid of one.
Yeah. So
thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. That's all you got to say to this guy.
Yeah. Now, last month, he also said God will strike America with drought and weather disasters for not supporting Israel. So, good on you, mate, for really just, yeah.
He's trying to make a prediction that may actually be true.
Well, he says a lot of words. They're not good words. They're not true words. They really mean nothing. Like,
what that Alex Jones rant we listened to before the show?
Which one?
Holy shit!
Oh. He also said Harry Reid supports Citizens United Amendment because he is an, quote, atheist Mormon.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing. You can't do that. You can be...
Yes. A Mormon has a faith.
Secular, but you can't be an atheist Mormon.
He could be a non-practicing Mormon who is now agnostic. I don't know, or atheist, or I don't even know. It's
yeah,
but it's like saying the Pope is an atheist Christian. No, that's not possible.
I'm a Catholic atheist.
Yeah,
that's not a thing, sir.
But thanks for playing.
Yeah, that's not a thing. Those words. They
bye.
No, and bye bye.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Yeah, he's a piece of work, and really, it's cite your sources, you know. And he is unfortunately a source for much of the rhetoric that is being bandied about in the Tea Party and has been for many years. So.
I wondered where all the crazy came from.
Yeah.
And now I know.
Yeah. So we'll keep highlighting some of these some of the wackadoos out there, and no, I'm not partial to just the right, the conservative right. It's just they're a really great target because they keep spouting all the batshit crazy stuff. And as soon as I hear batshit crazy stuff from the other side, I will pounce on it.
Is there a left-wing watch?
I'm sure there probably is, but the thing is, every time it's probably going to be like Alex Jones. And they're spouting so much nonsense on their own that they make the nonsense that they were trying to look at sound completely reasonable. Which is a problem, because then you can't... We live in this society now where lampooning something is actually really hard. Because it sounds real. Like The Onion, so many articles come out from The Onion.
Oh yeah,
and it's like that's a real headline. That happened. That totally happened. And I'm waiting for one of their headlines to simply become fact. Like just later on, these things that they said, these random weird things that they said were going to happen, did. I'm waiting for that.
You know, they did. They actually weighed in on Ebola. And I forget the total article headline, but the gist of it was that not enough white people had gotten Ebola yet for them to develop a vaccine. And I thought, that is just absolute truth and satire.
Yeah, it probably is.
It's just they nailed it.
It's comedy,
purely satire, but also, in the best jokes, there's always a grain of truth.
Mm-hmm.
The best.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of thing that makes it believable.
Yeah.
Okay. You had a bunch of headlines from the Right Wing Watch. I found one thing. I did a quick search for Left Wing Watch.
Yeah.
The only thing that really came up with was a site called Newsbusters.
Well, yeah, I just pulled that one.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, compare the headlines. CNN Politics Division drops more than a dozen posts and move to increase digital content. Fox and SNBC military analysts agree Obama's lack of strategy is troubling. MSNBC's Matthew Dissis colleague Ezra Klein's box, let me deal with the grown-ups. Okay. Hey, Andy, do you have a couple of those headlines from Right Wing Watch?
Well, hang on a second. As far as like Wikipedia and things go, there's another one out there called Rational Wiki, and it's basically take skepticism to the nth degree, and really go after it. And so I just looked up Newsbusters. Newsbusters is I'm just going to read it. Newsbusters is a wingnut media watch website that styles itself as exposing and combating liberal media bias. The site is an extension of Brett Bosel's Media Research Center. While an ostensibly admirable goal to keep check on the media, it does not so much expose liberal bias as try to ram Republican bias in all over the place. The site also has blatant anti-science agenda, often criticizing stories on evolution and global warming that don't give time to creationist or denialist perspectives for having liberal bias.
And yet they can't come up with interesting headlines.
In response to your question read some of these headlines, Rick Wiles, Ebola could solve America's problems with atheism and homosexuality.
Oh, God.
Brian Fisher agrees with ISIS that Yazidis are devil worshippers and that's why Obama defends them.
Oh, wow.
Evan Swanson, Red Tyrant Abraham Lincoln introduced communism to America.
Wait, what? What?
Abraham Lincoln introduced communism to America. I thought that was pretty clear.
What? You didn't know that was the thing?
Michelle Bachmann worries that unaccompanied children will be used for medical experiments.
Oh, nice. Isn't that one of those signs that you see in like the tchotchke stores? Unattended children will be sold to the Goblin King.
Here you go. Anti-immigration activist fears Obama plans for FEMA coffins to handle 200 million deaths.
By the way, that's 2/3 of our population in the country. Great.
Get ready for Reagan book, The Facebook for Patriots.
What?
What is that?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Reagan book. I need to know. Let me see.
Reagan book?
Pope Mary.
ReaganBook.com. It's a thing.
I feel as if the world that I once knew no longer quite exists.
No.
I'm not sure when exactly that changed.
It's gone bye-bye.
But yeah, it's this innate sense of, I can spot the truth, I can spot reality fairly well. I think that I can do that. And then they go ahead and they prove that reality really is stranger than fiction. At every freaking turn. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, you could, but it's not as good. That's the problem. So, at this point, they've gone so far over that the things we come up with that is comedy, that is the fiction, appears more real.
Yeah. Liberal blitzkrieg imposed false god of secularism on America.
What? Have they forgotten that more than 51% of the United States believes in creationism, essentially?
I don't think it was that high.
It's high, yeah. It really is high.
Pat Robertson. Obama was trained in Indonesia with the Muslim point of view.
If by trained means he was a little boy, then maybe.
He learned speech.
Yeah, there were words involved and probably some candy. You know.
A few toys.
Yeah.
And some of these just sound silly. Arizona Attorney General Tom Horn hobnobs with radical nullificationists.
I'm sorry. I heard a lot of words there.
Yeah. Arizona Attorney General.
Okay, I got those.
Name of Tom Horn.
Okay, I got him.
Hobnobs.
All right.
With radical nullificationists.
Nullificationists. That's the word. What the hell is that?
I don't know. Featuring nullificationist Sheriff Richard Mack, anti-government rancher Cliven Bundy's son Ammon, and Arizona's current Attorney General.
Oh, we went to Cliven Bundy again.
Nullificationist. I think that's like a step beyond secessionist.
Yeah, the state has the right to nullify
like,
or
secessionist
invalidate any federal law.
Yeah, secession is nullification light.
I see. Okay. Nullification light. Right. Okay. Yeah. That's the problem here. You know, I would add, just running back to it, I would love to be able to highlight some folks that have gone a little bit off the reservation, as it were, on quote the left. But I think the dials have been adjusted so harshly that those on the left are actually more centrist, because they're really liberal people, and I know a few. You know, I may appear liberal, but only by comparison to some of the people that I'm lampooning here.
Yeah.
I'm really more of a centrist, along with probably everybody on the show.
We're actually quite centrist.
Yeah.
The real liberals. We're just not doing enough. You know,
we can never do enough.
We're never going to do enough for everyone. It's really, but they don't get any media attention because most of them live in the woods.
Yeah.
Look up Crunchy Mama.
Crunchy Mama.
Crunchy Mama.
I don't know.
I got a liberal friend who like super duper liberal. It is incredible. And they talk about their hippie cred.
Okay, so Urban Dictionary, Crunchy Mama, mother who supports home birth, breastfeeding, baby wearing, cloth diapering, co-sleeping, gentle discipline, etc. One who questions established medical authority, tends to be a vegetarian and/or prepare all organic food. See Crunchy and Hippie. That Crunchy Mama is breastfeeding in public again.
So one of the they posted a. Let me. I'm going to build this up a little bit.
Oh wait.
Posted a
Words
thing
related to Crunchy Mama. Words related to Crunchy Mama. Chemicals. Chemnanas. Crunchy Mom, Granola Hippie, Modern Parenting, Natural Parenting, Silky Mama, Silky Mom, Soggy Mama, Soggy Mom, Suicide, Unloader, and Walmart.
Okay.
So you post this list of like top 20 or so things that Crunchy Mamas do.
Okay.
And I had to stop when I got to, if you have ever, after childbirth, consumed your own placenta. And I went, what?
Apparently that's a thing, and that's happening more often now.
You know, there's recipes for them.
Yeah.
There's recipes. There's people who will basically prepare the placenta and then put it in capsule form, so you can take it as a pill. I'm
pretty sure.
I understand that it's a good source of protein and nutrients go into that, but there's other places to get protein and nutrients.
Last I checked,
But why?
you're still taking prenatal vitamins after especially if you are going to be breastfeeding and things like that. So you're already getting ample nutrients, and you're going to get more from eating a burger or even a bean burger. You know, you're going to get more protein than what you're going to get out of dining on a placenta. Which, thank you, that wasn't something I was planning on saying today. So that's something.
Dining on placenta.
Dining on placenta. Now, this is also apparently one of those things that's popular among the Scientologist communities.
Whoa.
Because they're crazy as well.
Whoa, here's one I never thought I'd see, a Republican in favor of a tax increase.
Is it a tax increase on the poor?
Of course. Michelle Bachmann proposes 100% tax on money sent home by immigrants to stop war that is being waged against us.
A 100% tax. So basically you cannot send money out of the country is what she's saying.
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Yeah.
And I'm getting off urban
because
right now,
because freedom and America. And you do what you want as long as we like it.
Wow.
And that's freedom right there. I mean,
emphasis on the dumb.
you can do whatever you like. just only do what we want you to.
We need less government in our lives and less people are doing something we don't like. And we need more of it.
Right, like gay marriages and things like that, which I hear are pretty popular over on the left coast and in places like Hawaii. And I believe one of those punishments from God that they were going to rain down for gay marriages and all that was going to be, I don't know, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, things like that. That seems like it's happening a little bit.
Yeah, in all places of Hawaii.
But Hawaii in particular, right? Let's see. They've got, what, 3 hurricanes that are bearing down on them? I'm sorry, typhoons. They're over in the Pacific.
Yep.
Let's see. Honolulu. Hawaii braced for a 1-2 punch. No, I didn't want to play that. Thank you. From a pair of major storms toward the archipelago. I'd love to say that's a wonderful word on Thursday. With Hurricane Iselle, which has now been, since this article was published, has been downgraded to a tropical storm. Leading the way, bringing high winds, heavy surf, as Hurricane Julio gathered steam behind it. So I think there's a bit of an upsurge in the El Nino process going on out there. Not that I wanted to turn the show into talking about the weather, but
the big point of it is it's not just the hurricanes. It's that now there's an earth. They just had an earthquake. I think that was this morning, maybe.
Those poor
I don't
bastards.
remember. Yeah, it was something at the same time that they're preparing to take on a hurricane. They get an earthquake, which of course they're near a volcano and they're probably going to have.
This is not because of changing weather patterns or global warming. It's because we have a Muslim in the White House.
Oh, is that why?
That's why.
Oh, and
it's bringing in the end days.
It was an earthquake off the Big Island, a 4.5 magnitude. It struck at 6:24 a.m. Hawaiian Aleutian Standard Time, or 12:24 p.m. Eastern. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the epicenter was 7 miles west-northwest of Waimea, in the northwest part of the island of Hawaii. Depth of the earthquake was estimated at just under 10 miles below the Earth's surface, considered shallow for a focus for a quake.
Which could be more volcanic than.
Yeah. Now, of course, the folks over in California are going to say 4.5. I slept through that.
Right.
So I don't think that's really terrible. There is no tsunami threat, which is really the big issue with islands plus earthquakes. That massive upheaval just shaking all the water around.
That's not the big issue, Andy. The big issue is that Christians in America will soon be arrested or possibly killed. Per Rick Wiles.
Okay, Rick Wiles. Yes.
Okay, that's the last headline I'm reading.
Where was that one?
That was if you start clicking through the more stories on Right Wing Watch,
No.
it's down the rabbit hole ways, but it's in there.
Oh,
Because we're going to arrest 50+% of our population. Actually, like 70% of the population Christian.
yeah, it's a big percent.
It's really high number.
I think 70%, and then the rest are.
Wasn't there like 46 Christian presidents in a row?
I think they've had their chance.
All of them.
It's time to arrest and kill them, obviously.
Yes.
And how many Christians are in the Senate?
Almost
all of them.
All of them. Yeah. Yeah, almost
No,
all.
actually, no. I think in the Senate, I think all of them. Or maybe.
Well,
like
the
one or
thing-
two,
the
maybe
problem
not.
is,
And
I
then the
believe
House is-
there's some seculars out there. There are some people that don't.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, both. No, those are the ones that are openly, secular. But the ones that are out there, you remember, with such a large Christian population, you can't get elected if you don't believe.
Yeah.
You pretty much just kill your votes. So
One of us.
yeah, exactly. How many people are up on Capitol Hill that are just playing the part? I dare say a lot of them. Don't know how
Sounds like most Christians.
Yeah, unless they're following everything to the letter. I mean, they're technically not.
But which letter? Because there are
exactly.
some that believe that the King James version of the Bible is the inerrant Word of God, even though it has obviously been edited because it is the King James version.
It was
Yeah.
there's historically documented fact that King James edited the Bible for his own ends.
Yeah. And, of course, his name's on it.
Nah, just coincidence.
No,
Yeah.
This is
It's because-
obviously the word of God because kings and queens were divine leaders.
Well, no,
They were
he
given
just
divine
found,
right to rule.
he found the original and just said, "This is mine because I own it because I found it." And here, it's
Yeah.
completely original.
So
Yeah.
enough about that. Let's talk about Hitchhiking.
Written in
the
modern
script-
day English because
And-
that's what the original Bible was written in.
And all those scratches. Just don't mind all those cross outs and all those. Yeah.
Why are there red marks on some paragraphs in here?
Where's
That's
that page
how
that was torn
it's
out?
Oh, no. You're just looking at the Gideon Bible that I left in the hotel room. Here, I fixed it.
I
So,
remember back in high school, and those were used for other things.
Does anybody know someone who's a member of the Gideons?
I don't know.
Like, who the fuck are these people? They got Bibles everywhere.
Well, they're pretty much just a religious organization that is devoted to putting the Bible.
Bibles in places?
Yeah.
I think that they should start taking pictures of themselves planking with Bibles.
Oh, jeez. Oh, okay.
Planking and owling and...
Yeah.
I'm still not sure what owling is, but I don't bother telling me. So here I have
Provided by the Gideons.
placed by the Gideons.
Placed by the Gideons.
Placed by the Gideons. The Bible is placed in memory or honor of a friend or loved one through the Gideon Memorial Bible Plan. If you desire to contact Gideons in this area, please consult your local telephone directory. From 1908 to 2008, commemorating 100 years of Bible distribution. Gideons International, Nashville, Tennessee. Gideons.org, should you be interested. I figured they put them out there, so it's like, oh yeah, I need one for my shelf. Here you go. Thank you very much. So, there you have it. Now, there's a hitchhiking robot in Canada.
That's insanity.
I thought it was a little cute little story. Bring up the end.
If you spot an adorable smiling robot on the side of the road, please put it in your car and have a conversation with it. No, seriously, you should do it. If not for the sake of saying you made a robot friend, then do it for science, which should be our battle cry for everything. For science!
Science. Stand back. I'm going to try science.
That's right. The robot, aptly named Hitchbot, is the brainchild of David Harris Smith of McMaster University and Farouk Zeller of Ryerson University. They came up with the concept in 2013 as a way of learning more about how humans and robots could interact with one another. Hitchbot's journey began in Halifax, Nova Scotia on July 27th and will be traveling a total of 6,000 kilometers to Victoria, British Columbia, though it isn't entirely clear how long the journey will take. The route taken is totally at the discretion of the drivers.
It's a cute little thing. It kind of looks like a 5-gallon bucket with arms. And
it is.
It's got a solar panel on it. I was wondering how the thing
was powered for that long.
Yeah.
I saw the picture, and the side of its head has ITCH.
Yeah, I think it's Hitchbot.
Yeah.
I think it's a scrolling.
That's not what I first thought, though, because it was sitting in a car in the passenger seat, and I thought it was telling off the person next to it.
Yeah, I know. It's like move over.
Nice. Yeah. The robot's power source comes from solar panels around the body that soak up the rays while it waits for its next ride, and the power adapter in the car to keep Hitchbot from going from place to place. Usually we are concerned with whether we can trust robots. This project asks, can robots trust human beings? Interesting concept.
In Canada, yes.
Well,
in the United States, that motherfucker get torn down. Shit, I'd have parts of it laying in my garage.
Yeah,
in America, it would make you cross the city.
Oh boy. So yeah, I guess that's
transmitter in it. No, it's never gonna make it.
Yeah, that's an experiment that would only work in the wonderful country of Canada.
There are nice people up there.
There, don't you know?
Don't you know? Good people up there.
Hitchhiking robot, eh? Okay. Yeah, we'll take you. He's fine. Go ahead, get in.
Yeah.
And
Work sent me up there for a couple months, and man, they are just great people.
I completely apologize for butchering your accents.
I don't apologize for butchering any accents.
Why?
I do not discriminate in butchering accents.
Oh, yeah.
I butcher them all.
Butcher all of them.
Yes.
Butcher all the accents. Absolutely. So we're down to picks, reviews, entertainment, nitpicks.
Picks and reviews and entertainment.
I don't really have any.
I haven't been entertained much this week.
I have been entertained this week, and I
have been entertained.
Sans spoilers, Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the best movie I've seen this year.
I have heard that from a number of people.
I have heard that a lot too. Yeah, I definitely gonna have to.
I dare say it's the best movie I've seen in a few years. It was thoroughly entertaining. I was entertained for 2.5 hours. And it did not feel like 2.5 hours. Tons of stuff happens. The pacing's great. The jokes are great. I love that movie. I will buy the Blu-ray to support the Guardians of the Galaxy Fund for making more movies because it was good.
I hear that they left it, absolutely wide open for, continued franchise cred.
This is, to make an equivalency here, it's kind of like Space Avengers. It's how the Avengers all came to be. This is how the Guardians of the Galaxy all came to be.
Okay.
The Guardians of the Galaxy. And between the two movies, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy is a far superior movie.
Really?
Far and away superior.
Wow.
In almost every way. It was great. It is truly a great movie. No offense to Joss Whedon, because he does good stuff, but yeah, it was. That is I put that one on as must watch.
I did hear that the raccoon with the big gun actually still saved more innocent civilians than Superman did in the last movie.
I'd buy that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Superman spent a lot of time wrecking the fucking city.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet just because of all those negative reviews. Like, I don't know that I want to see that.
Oh, you didn't see Superman?
No, I haven't. No, I've got it. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it on the treadmill one day. Just walking along.
It was an interesting origin story.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. It is interesting origin story. It wasn't the greatest movie. I thought it was entertaining enough for what it was. I was not upset at the end of the movie. Some people were upset at the end of the movie.
Well, it's no Lois and Clark,
No, Lois is in there. Sort of. And she does good.
What?
She does good. The girl playing Lois is good.
Do you remember that show, Lois and Clark?
Yeah, I do.
I don't think I ever watched it.
Oh, well, you've missed the joke. Then we'll move on. Trust me, we'll just move on. So, my pick is RigidBot 3D printing. I have one finally. I backed it like over a year ago, and it arrived on my door earlier this week, which has of course completely consumed my life with PLA plastic extruding and some assembly required. It's pretty cool.
But that's half the fun of doing geeky shit that involves making things. Is making things that make things.
It's pretty much it, yeah. And that's the amazing thing about the RigidBot itself. It's like, all these pieces, except for like the metal beams, I could just kind of print out.
This is a story that we should cover. SpaceX 3D printing parts for rockets.
Yeah, the 3D printed rocket engine.
Fuck yeah.
That worked.
To sum up the article, it was better than the cast rocket engine part in every conceivable way.
Yeah, that's something else.
From its ability to withstand cryogenic fuels and mass temperature changes to resistance to cracking and overall tensile strength. It was superior in every way.
Talk about coming a long way. This technology has really.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're printing rocket engines. We're printing organs. I'm printing like a dice roller.
Well, I mean, just think when you start scaling that. Just when you start scaling that technology up to larger and larger things, you can create structures that cannot be made in any other way.
Speaking of that, they actually. I know there's an initiative out there somewhere. I think they already did it, but it was a 3D printer for a house. It was a house-sized 3D printer that printed in concrete.
Yeah, they're doing printed buildings. That's. I think they've tried it. I don't know how far they've gotten, but I know
it seems like they would have a problem with the roof.
Nah, not really.
Concrete structure. I mean, you can. I don't know. They probably could do some support there and print it out.
3D printing houses. Well, there's a TED Talk on it. And they're doing it in China. Of course they're doing it in China.
Doing everything in China. The Chinese even made that rocket engine that shouldn't work.
3D printer can build a house in 20 hours.
Well, that's faster than most craftsmen.
Yes.
But it doesn't take lunch breaks or go home at night. So
exactly.
There are some really neat structural, like curves, and they're doing all sorts of stuff with it.
Yeah, you can do some amazing stuff, and then you just have your finishers come in and do the rest. But the main structure, it's all there. Giant Chinese 3D printer builds 10 houses in just one day.
Jesus.
And that article was April 27th this year. So this technology is there. It's really coming into its own.
It's the future. The future is now.
Yeah, it is.
And the future is 3D printing shit.
Yeah, I wonder how the copyright on a house would work. Well, I just emailed my house and
Plans.
printed it.
Dude, you gotta go to this site. They got non-DRM houses.
Oh yeah, that's where you got to go. Yeah. Looking for that nice A-frame, you know.
Yeah.
I wonder if you're working in CAD, you just design your own house up in a little while and say, here, print.
Well, most of
no,
them
I-
are
my new
built in
house.
CAD.
I want the X-wing house,
Yeah.
A-frames, so 2000s.
Well, you got to have those angles right, otherwise, you know, the
Yeah.
PLA just wanted to hear. Oh man. Oh, and there's video. So, yeah, it's not just a story. It's like, oh, geez, there's actual videos of this big gantry thing doing its work. I'm impressed. I'm
That's
impressed.
pretty great.
So, Don, what did you have?
Like I said, I didn't have much time for entertainment this week.
Are you
Anything
not
I've-
entertained?
And anything I've done is something you've already plugged. The books, Peter F. Hamilton, Greg Mendel series. I started that. Other than that, I really can't think of anything off the top of my head. Oh, I installed the old original Civilization. I talked about that in I think a post show about the
did you
glitches
get
and
the-
stuff. Yeah, I got it working in DOSBox. So I had the CD that was DOS for DOS, and so I
Nice.
actually got that working. But other than that, no, I've been building a computer for my mother, and oh yeah, mini computers. I could do that. I'm building little computers that can mount to the back of a monitor. Those are, if you like building them, I mean, I can build a more powerful machine than what I'm working on here. That's in a huge tower, and I can hook it to the back of your monitor.
Yeah, I'm really tempted to get a Raspberry Pi, but I do not need any more computers right now.
Yeah, in the coming weeks, I'm gonna start wrapping up my review time with the. I got the Windows 8 tablet.
Mm-hmm. Was it the
With the,
Surface, or did you get the Dell?
I got the Dell.
Okay.
I got the Dell Venue 8-inch.
Pro. Venue Pro 8.
It's good. It's really good. I like it so far. So.
See, I've seen the Surface, and the Surface has a little, unless you get the new Pro.
Yeah, there's the Surface.
Well, the new Surface is 12 inches, so it's bigger.
Well, yeah, the old Surface was fairly. I don't
It was
remember.
a 10-inch tablet. It was a good size.
Yeah. And
yeah, I did see
run that great. Not for no.
in Walmart of all places. There was the latest Galaxy Tab 12, so now it's a 12-inch Android tablet.
Mm-hmm.
It looked kind of nice. It was like $530 though.
Yeah. Well, the
cheaper than an iPad.
thing with the Surface is if you get the Surface Pro
Mhm.
in any of the versions, it's nice and snappy. If you got the Surface RT, which I unfortunately did, it's not so snappy.
Yeah.
It takes its time loading up Microsoft Word. So
Well, it's running on an ARM-based processor, right?
it's running on, I believe it's a Tegra 2, I think, which has got some horsepower to it, but it's not built for that kind of operating system.
Yeah, I think I was looking at the Pro, but I think there's a new version of the Pro.
Yeah.
they got the Surface 3.
Yeah, I was looking at the earlier version.
Which I don't
Pro, and
believe the
it
Surface
wasn't
3
that
even
great.
comes in an RT variant. I believe it is straight up.
That's true. Yeah. The Surface 2, and we're totally geeking out on Microsoft Surface, guys. I'm very, very sorry for those listeners that have just kind of zoned out completely. But yeah, the RT is Windows on ARM, and the Pro is actual proper Windows 8. So if you're actually looking at getting a Microsoft Surface of any type, and you actually want to be able to, I don't know, run the rest of your software that you already own, then you're going to want to get the Pro variety. It's going to cost more. Don't be tempted by the other one. If you are tempted to that, then go look at an Android tablet like anything else.
If you my official recommendation is do not buy an RT tablet, the Surface RT, or you will live with regrets like I do.
Another suggestion is if you're looking at Surface, look at the new version Lenovo Yoga. They have a larger screen version, I think like a 15-inch now, I forget. But that's a full computer, but it's pretty much almost as thin as, not quite as thin, but it's getting pretty close to being as thin as a Surface, and it's a full computer, full laptop. And it holds it on itself, and it's a tablet. So
the tablet that I got, the Dell Venue, is an 8-inch tablet, but it's running, I believe, Intel Atom processor, and it's running full Windows 8.1, and it's snappy. It's really good. I got a little keyboard case for it that syncs almost instantly once you turn it on, and I'm shopping around. I thought I had a Bluetooth mouse, but I cannot locate it in amongst my clutter. So I'm shopping around for a Bluetooth mouse that I can pack in a bag, and it's a little 8-inch computer, basically. Gives you all the functionality you would have with a laptop, and it lasts for days.
Slick.
Yeah.
For $250 plus $30 for the keyboard cover, I'd say at this point I'm very happy with my buy.
Sold. Yeah.
Yeah, the Yoga, they've got the Yoga 2 Pro, and it's $1,000, or starting at $1,400 depending on where you're getting it. 4th gen Intel Core i7 processor, integrated graphics, of course, 8 gig of RAM, 512 gig SSD, 9-hour battery life, 13.3 inch. 3,200 by 1,800 display.
Yeah, I saw I went to a training class.
Jeez.
That's a huge resolution on that. 16 by 9 widescreen.
Yeah, I went to a training class, and the instructor had one of those, and he was instructing the class with it.
Whew.
And it seemed like it was a good machine.
A little over half an inch thick and 3.1 pounds.
Nice.
Pretty small.
That's just, we're living in the future.
Yeah. The future is good.
The future is cool, man.
I think we're getting closer to flying cars. I think the way it's going to happen is you're going to scale quadcopters up to car size.
Yeah. That does make some sense.
And then they'll 3D print
they're almost big enough. Actually, there is an engineering. I'll put the story for next week.
There's some drivers that I've encountered just recently here in the state of Florida that I would like to clip their wings and also shank their tires.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the point where you're putting people inside of drones, you just tell it where you want to go, and it flies you there.
Yeah, we got to have the self-driving cars before we can have flying cars, because we got to have that auto nav, 100% auto nav.
Well, we've got the air traffic control systems to handle that.
No, we don't.
Well, sure, we'll get that IBM supercomputer with the neural processor.
Look, yeah.
Later.
We need the air traffic control to handle the air traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as you're under 500 feet.
It's messy up there. Oh, geez, no, that still doesn't work. No.
Imagine all the drivers on the highways under 500 feet flying whichever way they want.
They'll make a highway system.
I think at that point I would truly become a Luddite and searching for, the underground Earth dwellers and start to really, I'd be.
They'll come up with a system for that because it's going to happen.
The system will be roads.
As the crow flies, is more efficient and faster, and we are a society that digs that.
Well, the problem is the solution is roads. Roads in the sky, roads on the ground. It'll still be roads. They'll still have to fly in a pattern.
Yeah.
Yep.
Travel lanes, etc.
You'll still have to merge into the pattern. They'll just have a different system for making sure that you don't hit anything.
Well, they did the same thing. That was the same thing in Back to the Future. Yeah, there were travel lanes.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
And on that, we're going to leave you with the credits. So, bye, everybody!
See ya.
That's it for us tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the show as much as we've enjoyed making it. This is the part where I beg for audience participation. Head over to ORlyRadio.com. That's ORLY radio.com and participate in the live stream. Chat with us during the show on our IRC, and if you have topic ideas, email them to us at orlyradiopodcast@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail at 470-222-ORLY 6759 and post and vote on stories on our subreddit at reddit.com/r/ORlyRadio. And if that wasn't enough, we're all over the web. Check out our Facebook page, our Twitter, our Tumblr, our Google+, and even video of the show archived at youtube.com. Consider leaving us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, or if you really love us, really love us, consider help offset the cost of the show by contributing on our Patreon page, accessible through the Help Us link on our homepage. We really can't thank you enough for spending time with us. Until next time, this has been ORly Radio, part of the Common Services Network. Music Rocket and Pangea provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com.